The episode of The View began like many others, with the hosts exchanging light banter and setting the tone for what viewers expected to be a thoughtful yet friendly discussion. Jane Fonda entered the studio to loud applause, smiling warmly as she greeted the panel. From the start, her presence commanded attention, carrying decades of experience, activism, and Hollywood history. The conversation opened smoothly, touching on her career and recent projects, with Jane appearing relaxed and confident. As the discussion shifted towards social and political topics, the mood subtly changed. Joy Behar raised a point that seemed casual on the surface but carried deeper implications. Jane listened carefully, her expression thoughtful rather than reactive. The audience sensed a shift in energy, as if something more serious was about to unfold. While the panel continued speaking, Jane remained quiet, choosing her moment rather than rushing to respond. Joy expanded on her point, framing it in a way that sparked immediate reaction across the table. Jane's posture straightened slightly, and she leaned forward, signaling engagement. Her calm demeanor contrasted with the growing tension in the conversation. Rather than interrupting, Jane allowed Joy to finish, demonstrating patience that only heightened anticipation for her response. When Jane finally spoke, her voice was steady and composed. She acknowledged Joy's perspective but gently challenged the assumptions behind it. Her words were precise, informed by years of activism and lived experience. The studio grew noticeably quieter, as both the hosts and audience focused intently on her response. It was clear this was no rehearsed soundbite, but a deeply considered reply. Joy attempted to counter Jane's point, adding humor to soften her stance. Jane smiled briefly but did not back down. She clarified her position further, emphasizing nuance rather than absolutes. Her tone remained respectful, yet firm, signaling that she was unwilling to let the issue be oversimplified. The exchange began to resemble a genuine debate rather than a typical daytime discussion. The audience reacted with murmurs and scattered applause as Jane continued. She spoke about accountability, responsibility, and the importance of understanding context. Her words carried authority without aggression, a balance that made her argument even more compelling. Joy listened, nodding at times, but it was clear she wasn't fully convinced. Joy responded again, this time more directly challenging Jane's stance. The tension increased, and the other hosts glanced between them, aware they were witnessing an unscripted moment. Jane remained composed, taking a breath before replying. Her calmness seemed to ground the room, even as the conversation edged closer to confrontation. Jane's reply was measured but unmistakably decisive. She explained why certain narratives can be harmful when repeated without critical examination. Her delivery was calm, yet there was a clear boundary in her tone. This was the moment many viewers later described as Jane shutting down the argument, not by raising her voice, but by asserting clarity. Joy tried to interject, but Jane continued, asking to finish her thought. The request was polite but firm. The studio audience fell silent, recognizing the weight of the moment. Jane spoke about lived realities, systemic issues, and the responsibility of public figures to speak carefully. Her words landed heavily, shifting the dynamic at the table. When Jane finished, there was a brief pause. Joy responded with a lighter tone, attempting to diffuse the tension. Jane acknowledged her comment with a nod, but the core disagreement remained unresolved. The exchange had moved beyond casual disagreement into a meaningful clash of perspectives. One of the other hosts attempted to bridge the gap, summarizing both viewpoints. Jane listened respectfully, appreciating the effort, but reiterated her stance. She emphasized that disagreement is healthy, but only when grounded in facts and empathy. Her insistence on this point resonated strongly with the audience. Joy, visibly thoughtful, admitted that Jane had given her something to consider. While she didn't fully retract her position, the shift in her tone suggested reflection rather than resistance. Jane responded with appreciation, reinforcing that dialogue, not dominance, was her goal. The tension softened slightly, though the intensity of the moment lingered. The conversation moved forward, but the impact of the exchange remained evident. Jane's calm authority had reframed the discussion, setting a new tone for the remainder of the segment. Viewers could sense that something significant had occurred, a moment of real engagement rather than performative debate. As the show progressed, social media reactions began pouring in. Clips of the exchange quickly circulated, with viewers praising Jane's composure and clarity. Many highlighted how she managed to assert her position without hostility, a skill increasingly rare in televised discussions. Joy later referenced the exchange with a touch of humor, acknowledging the intensity of the conversation. Jane smiled, signaling no personal animosity. The mutual respect between them became more apparent, even amid disagreement. It underscored that strong debate doesn't have to fracture relationships. Jane took a moment to reflect on the importance of listening, even when emotions run high. She emphasized that shutting down harmful narratives isn't about silencing people, but about elevating truth. Her explanation reframed the idea of confrontation as an act of care rather than conflict. The audience applauded, responding to the sincerity in Jane's words. Joy nodded, appearing more receptive. The exchange had evolved into a learning moment, not just for the hosts, but for viewers watching at home. It highlighted the power of thoughtful resistance over reactive argument. Behind the scenes, producers later described the moment as intense but respectful. There was no shouting, no walk-off, just two strong personalities standing their ground. That authenticity made the exchange more impactful than any scripted segment could have been. Fans of Jane Fonda praised her for using her platform responsibly. They noted how she modeled assertive communication without dismissiveness. The phrase "shuts down" took on a different meaning, less about silencing and more about redirecting the conversation toward substance. Joy's supporters, meanwhile, appreciated her willingness to engage and reflect. Many pointed out that disagreement is essential for meaningful dialogue. The exchange reminded viewers that The View thrives on differing opinions, especially when handled with mutual respect. Media analysts later dissected the moment, calling it a masterclass in calm confrontation. Jane's approach demonstrated how confidence and preparation can outweigh volume and force. It was a reminder that authority doesn't require aggression. Jane later addressed the moment in another interview, explaining that her goal was never to embarrass Joy. She emphasized the importance of challenging ideas, not people. Her comments further softened public perception of the exchange, framing it as constructive rather than combative. Joy also reflected on the discussion, acknowledging that conversations like these are necessary, even when uncomfortable. She expressed respect for Jane's perspective and experience. This mutual acknowledgement reinforced the professionalism on both sides. The clip continued to trend, drawing in viewers who rarely watched daytime television. Many were drawn by the authenticity of the exchange, finding it refreshing in a media landscape often dominated by extremes. Jane's calm strength became the defining takeaway. For longtime fans, the moment felt consistent with Jane Fonda's legacy. She has always been known for standing firm in her beliefs while encouraging dialogue. The exchange on The View was simply another chapter in that ongoing story. That discussion also sparked broader conversations about how women engage in debate on television. Viewers praised both Jane and Joy for modeling disagreement without personal attacks. It challenged stereotypes about heated arguments and emotional reactions. As the episode concluded, the atmosphere had shifted from tension to reflection. The hosts thanked Jane for her insights, and she returned the gratitude. The applause felt genuine, acknowledging the depth of the conversation they had just shared. In the days that followed, think pieces and opinion columns analyzed the moment from multiple angles. Most agreed that Jane's ability to calmly assert her stance was what made the exchange so powerful. It wasn't about winning, but about being clear. The incident ultimately reinforced why Jane Fonda remains such a respected figure. Her willingness to engage, challenge, and listen demonstrated leadership rooted in experience. The moment resonated far beyond the studio walls. Long after the episode aired, viewers continued to reference the exchange as an example of meaningful television discourse. Jane Fonda didn't raise her voice or storm off, yet she decisively shifted the conversation. In doing so, she reminded audiences that true strength often speaks calmly, firmly, and with purpose. In the following days, social media erupted with clips of Jane Fonda's calm but firm rebuttal to Joy Behar. Fans praised her for handling the situation with grace, highlighting that she didn't need to raise her voice or create drama to make her point. Comment sections filled with debates about who won the exchange, but most agreed that the real victory was the demonstration of composed assertiveness in live television. Jane's approach quickly became a talking point on talk shows and news segments. Analysts noted that her method of addressing disagreement, calm, informed, and deliberate, offered a blueprint for handling contentious conversations without escalating tension. Many media experts called it a rare example of civility and authority in an era of sensationalized shouting matches. Joy Behar also received attention for her part in the exchange. While some criticized her for pressing the point too hard, many applauded her ability to remain composed and continue engaging respectfully, even when challenged. Viewers appreciated that both women maintained professionalism while speaking candidly about a sensitive topic. The incident highlighted the dynamics of daytime television, where hosts and guests must balance entertainment with authenticity. Jane's measured responses revealed her skill in steering a conversation toward substance, while still acknowledging differing perspectives. This balance became a key lesson for talk show hosts navigating unpredictable moments. In interviews following the episode, Jane reflected on the conversation, emphasizing that her goal was never to humiliate or silence Joy. Instead, she wanted to provide context and clarity on issues she has long championed. She noted that challenging assumptions is essential in fostering understanding, particularly on a platform with a wide audience. Media commentators praised Jane's ability to shut down an argument without shutting out dialogue. Her calm authority demonstrated that powerful rebuttals don't require aggression, and that credibility comes from knowledge and experience rather than volume or spectacle. Fans shared clips of the exchange widely, with many praising the professionalism displayed by both Jane and Joy. The conversation sparked discussions on social media about respectful disagreement, showing that viewers crave thoughtful debate rather than manufactured conflict. The episode also prompted broader reflection on women in public discourse. Observers noted how Jane and Joy modeled assertiveness and thoughtful communication, challenging stereotypes about women being too emotional or confrontational on television. Their example demonstrated that disagreements can be handled with intelligence and poise. Behind the scenes, producers praised Jane for maintaining composure and guiding the conversation. They described the moment as tense but productive, noting that it provided one of the most compelling exchanges in recent show history. It became a lesson in how to manage unpredictable live television moments. The incident resonated with viewers beyond entertainment circles. Many appreciated Jane's ability to confront misinformation or oversimplified narratives respectfully, highlighting the importance of using public platforms responsibly. Her approach was cited as an example of how celebrities can engage thoughtfully in important discussions. Joy Behar later reflected on the moment publicly, admitting that Jane's points gave her food for thought. She acknowledged that while she had a strong perspective, Jane's measured reasoning forced her to reconsider her position. This mutual respect reinforced the idea that dialogue, even heated, can be constructive. Analysts suggested the exchange exemplified how live interviews can serve as a microcosm of broader societal debates. The conversation between Jane and Joy wasn't just about a single argument, it mirrored real-world discussions where listening, clarity, and respect are essential to resolving differences. Social media trends following the episode included hashtags praising civility, respect, and informed discourse. Viewers began to call for more media moments where disagreements are addressed thoughtfully rather than sensationalized for ratings. Jane's conduct became the benchmark for such discussions. Jane's handling of the argument also reminded fans of her long-standing career as an activist. She has always stood up for causes she believes in while engaging with opposing views thoughtfully. This episode reinforced her reputation as a figure who combines passion with poise. In retrospect, the exchange became more than a viral moment, it was a case study in effective communication under pressure. Jane demonstrated that authority and clarity, combined with patience, can decisively resolve misunderstandings without resorting to conflict, leaving a lasting impression on viewers and fellow hosts alike. Commentators noted that the segment would be remembered not for any raised voices or dramatic outbursts, but for the power of calm, confident communication. Jane's approach illustrated that a measured, knowledge-based response can be far more impactful than shouting or interrupting. The public response highlighted an appetite for meaningful dialogue on television. Viewers appreciated the combination of entertainment and education, demonstrating that daytime television can handle serious discussions without sacrificing engagement. Jane Fonda's conduct became an example cited in articles and opinion pieces about respectful public discourse. Fans began sharing lessons from the exchange online, discussing how to apply Jane's calm, assertive communication style in personal and professional conflicts. Many noted that her approach emphasized listening first, responding with clarity, and standing firm without hostility as skills valuable beyond the television studio. By the end of the week, the moment had sparked debates across media outlets, podcasts, and social platforms. Analysts highlighted that this exchange was different from typical viral arguments. It was memorable for substance and control rather than spectacle, reinforcing the value of thoughtful engagement. Ultimately, Jane Fonda's interaction with Joy Behar became a landmark moment in daytime television. It demonstrated how calm authority, informed reasoning, and respect for differing perspectives can turn a heated discussion into a memorable lesson in civility, proving that even disagreements can educate and inspire when handled with grace. In the aftermath of the episode, Jane Fonda received widespread praise for her poise and clarity. Talk show hosts, journalists, and social media users highlighted how she remained composed despite provocation, proving that intelligence and experience often speak louder than volume. Many noted that her demeanor turned a potentially contentious moment into a lesson in civil discourse. Joy Behar also gained attention for how she handled the exchange. While she had pressed hard with her points, she remained open to listening, demonstrating a willingness to engage thoughtfully. Viewers appreciated that both women modeled respectful disagreement, highlighting the importance of dialogue and understanding differing perspectives. Analysts dissected the conversation, noting that Jane's calm approach was strategic and effective. By grounding her points in experience and evidence, she reframed the discussion while maintaining authority. The moment became a case study in communication, often cited as an example of how to address disagreement without escalating conflict. Social media buzzed with reactions, with clips of Jane's firm responses circulating widely. Fans praised her ability to shut down misinformation or oversimplified arguments without aggression, calling it a masterclass in poise. The exchange became trending across multiple platforms, cementing its place in viral daytime television history. Many viewers began to reflect on the broader societal implications of the argument. Jane's insistence on clarity, nuance, and responsibility resonated beyond the show, prompting discussions about how we handle conflict, debate, and public discourse in everyday life. Her approach inspired conversations about patience, respect, and the power of calm authority. Behind the scenes, producers expressed admiration for Jane's professionalism. They noted that live television is unpredictable, but her composure and preparedness turned what could have been a chaotic segment into a compelling and thoughtful discussion. It served as a reminder that experienced guests can elevate a show when they bring insight and restraint. As the week progressed, opinion pieces and commentary highlighted Jane Fonda's long history of activism and advocacy. Many pointed out that this exchange was consistent with her approach to public engagement, firm, knowledgeable, and respectful. Fans praised her for standing her ground without personal attacks, reinforcing her reputation as a thoughtful and principled figure. The incident also prompted discussions about women in media. Analysts noted that Jane and Joy showcased how female hosts and guests can debate passionately without hostility. The exchange challenged stereotypes about women being overly emotional or confrontational on television, demonstrating that strong communication is about substance, not theatrics. Jane later addressed the moment in interviews, emphasizing that her intent was never to dominate the conversation but to clarify important points. She stressed the value of dialogue, explaining that disagreement can be productive when rooted in respect and understanding. Her reflection further reinforced the positive perception of her approach. Joy also spoke about the exchange afterward, acknowledging that Jane had made her consider alternative perspectives. She praised Jane's knowledge and the thoughtful way she presented her points, noting that the conversation, while intense, ultimately enhanced understanding rather than causing division. The public response to the episode reflected a desire for meaningful dialogue over spectacle. Fans praised both women for demonstrating that disagreement can be engaging, educational, and respectful. The moment quickly became an example cited in discussions about civility in media and public discourse. Media professionals began using the clip as an educational tool for aspiring journalists and talk show hosts. They highlighted Jane's ability to assert authority without aggression, showing that effective communication combines confidence, evidence, and empathy. The segment became a reference point for professional training on handling challenging interviews. Social media trends included hashtags celebrating civility, informed debate, and calm assertiveness. Clips of the exchange circulated with commentary emphasizing the importance of thoughtful discourse in an era dominated by sensationalism. Jane's conduct became a viral example of how to address conflict responsibly. Fans reflected on how this exchange reinforced Jane Fonda's legacy as both an actress and an activist. Her ability to navigate complex conversations with intelligence and grace reminded audiences why she has remained a respected public figure for decades. It was a demonstration of her enduring influence and skill. The segment also encouraged viewers to consider their own communication styles. Jane's calm, deliberate responses inspired people to practice listening, grounding arguments in facts, and engaging respectfully with differing opinions. Her example demonstrated that meaningful dialogue requires patience, preparation, and composure. Ultimately, Jane Fonda's exchange with Joy Behar became a defining moment on The View. It showed that heated arguments don't need to devolve into shouting matches and that authority and clarity can be expressed without hostility. The episode left a lasting impression, reinforcing the value of respectful, informed, and principled discourse on national television.